really to be admired. So we just need to be that consistent. Now, when it comes to quality and its definition, the best definition I'm aware of is quality is when we say what we do, and when we do what we say, and when we prove it in writing and improve it by looking back and getting that improvement. So we can say, well, what we do, what we will do, and do what we say, but then we need to have measuring the quality indicator, which is part of the HFA stipulation. That is license 35, license condition 35 is to manage the quality indicator in every center. And then we have a lot of quality indicator, traceability and complaint and patient experience, confidentiality and privacy, and appointments, submitting data to the HFA is one of the quality indicators. And look here, back in 2013, we were looking at one of the quality indicators for the lab. One of them is the IVF fertilization rate. We have a key performance indicator. It has to be above 50%. The mean for the center was 59%. ICSI, injectable eggs, the percentage of mature eggs, it has to be around 75% or higher. The center was nearly about 80%. Then you know you are achieving what is achievable for the patient. And when you have a month where you fall below the key performance indicator or the threshold, if it was repeated, you go back and examine the system, examine the setting, anything wrong in the lab, and only then you can improve and you can make further progress with the center. And there is a balance between proving and improving. You can't spend all of your time proving that you are doing the right thing. You can also allow time for improving what is not right. The golden rule, anywhere in medicine and in actual fact in other parts of life, it's not documented, it did not happen. And I know some centers are not heavy-handed when it comes to documentation, whilst others will be documenting everything. So providing data from their documentation will be a piece of cake, but for those who don't document, it becomes an arduous task. Look at the output from the HFA database. Looking at the success rate or the birth rate per embryo transfer for patient under 35 to 37, look at how it is going up through the years, through the improvement. You will hear some dodgy report talking about IVF success is going down. That is flawed, not substantiated, really for good practicing setting where you give importance to quality and reduce the number of embryos you transfer, you are likely to get higher live births per embryo transferred year on year on year, almost for all groups. Only those groups where biology is limiting, there is no change over the year, whatever you do. And look at the impact of single embryo transfer on multiple births. As single embryo transfer is increasing, the multiple births is decreasing over the years. And we would not have had that window on performance without access to that registry. The most recent registry data has been published is related to cycles in 2018. And you can see that the target for all patients when it comes to multiple births, as it is being stipulated by the authority, is under 10%. The previous period was above. In the recent period, all ages are below 10% multiple birth rate. It is good feedback to the sector. It is reassuring to the patient to see that the live births per embryo is increasing while the multiple births is reduced. Again, when you see that single embryo transfer, multiple births is hardly anything, but the double embryo transfer is significant. No matter what age you are using it at. Again, this is a message that can be seen and used in the embryo transfer room to counsel the patient who would like to have 2 embryos, and we use Alan Templeton adage, replace as many embryos as you like, but one at a time. And here is also some of the data to record the change. Fresh embryo transfer is under by 11%. Frozen embryo transfer is increasing. Embryo storage is increasing 700%. Egg freezing is increasing by 240%. You would not get this powerful data without a decent registry. Again, the efforts are there in Egypt. It just needs the enthusiasm and the renewed enthusiasm to provide more material for the data to be contemporaneous and to be meaningful and to be used for. Professor Dyer has spoken, and I must say I enjoyed our conversation with her last night in preparation to just strike the right note with this meeting. I found her an utterly dedicated and committed person who has no vested interest other than championing the cause of having a network that is functional and provide registry for Africa that would benefit the local or the national registry and the data from within the same center. Because if what you put in, you get back, so you know your performance and you can analyze it as much as you like, I can see that nothing other than honorable. Here is some of the output from ANARA data related to the number of embryos transferred. If people put 4 or more, look at the twin rate, 36%, and 1 in 12 will be triplets. All the civilized world will look very unfavorably on those figures. At least when people heed the advice, we will see a change on those figures, and we will see more rather than less, because you can see the figure that is predominant is 2, which is encouraging, but it is second by 3, and there is some to have 4 embryos. That should be a thing of the past. From the Latin American data, of course, it has been running for years, for almost 3 decades. You can see some of the data that is meaningful. The people have proved that they are in tune with the rest of the world. Look at the number of embryos transferred, the average in 1996. Look at the average number of embryos transferred in 2016 in Latin America. And it is significantly, it's almost half what it was when they started. And that is the kind of information that patient will need. So what is required from all this speech and sermon that I'm giving? What's required is not much. What's required is commitment. And commitment is not just a word. Commitment is an act. If it will take 3 to 5 minutes to fill the form for 1 cycle to submit to the Egyptian registry or to ANARA or to both, I think that is something to be embraced and endorsed, and also to realize that the feedback will be to you. If you see your own figure when you analyze your data or get the output back from ANARA, you will see how well you are doing. If you are doing above the average, you deserve to pat yourself on the shoulder and say, I'm doing very well. Let's just continue on the same theme. If you are doing less than the average, you try to go and look, what are we not doing right that we need to look and improve, and with improvement. You will satisfy your patient, you will have reputation, and you will have the acknowledgement that you deserve. So it is essential to identify a minimum viable data set, and I am reassured that ANARA is not asking the earth. They are providing a very simple and minimum data set for us to complete that will take, I'm reassured, 3 minutes, let's make them 5 minutes. If you did, say, what, 100 cycles a month, which is very good size unit, 100 cycles times 5 minutes over the months, it is really doable. So what are the obstacles? Some of them already been highlighted, but there is no harm in going over them again. One of these obstacles is lack of consistency. If people are not consistently reporting their data and having key performance indicator and having the number put it in documented way, it will mean that they will instantly lack interest. So the bit of improvement is to start getting your minimum data set for your own center. And lack of enthusiasm. And we know lack of enthusiasm and lack of passion is fatal. If you don't have enthusiasm for what you do, you might as well go and do something else. The other obstacle is skepticism. Some people will be sitting behind their desks and saying, this will not change the world. We are getting the data from America and from Europe. Why are we just giving ourselves a headache? That is not really the best way of thinking about this, because if anyone can do it, so can Africa, so can Egypt, so can your center. There's nothing rocket science about IVF anymore. The other problem also with skepticism is people decide to put their brain in a closed jar. They are not willing to adopt new ideas, or they were not even willing to be persuaded. And they will engage in why not to do it, not why doing it. And that, unfortunately, should be weeded out from the outset if we are to generate decent data that is proportionate to the name of Egypt and the Egyptian pioneers that are deserving of respect everywhere in the world where assisted reproduction is mentioned. Anxiety. Some of this already been addressed. People are anxious that their results will be shared, and people will know that the results are not great. That is completely assured. If you have your username and password and submitting the data, whether to the IVF registry in Egypt or to the registry in Anara, you are the master of your own destiny. Nobody will be interested. And let's just be mature about it. If you see the American centers, most prominent figures in America, if you go to their individual center, you will find their success rate is so modest. And they will be very happy to present it honestly. Why? Because it's to do with the type of patient that they treat. It is to do with what kind of criteria they accept. It's what practice they adopt. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. IVF, as I see it, if we make a woman pregnant, we have not really gone to the moon. We are just fulfilling their potential. If we fail to make a patient pregnant, that is biology. As long as we satisfy ourselves that we did everything that we should for this couple. But it's not our gift to make every couple have a pregnancy when they come to us. The anxiety also about confidentiality. This data, and some people are, unfortunately, I'm sorry to say it, almost being polluted by the conspiracy theory. Why would the data be shared? What good is it, anonymous data being shared? I could sit here on my desk and make up 1,000 cycles in a very plausible way. Nobody will look at them. What interests are of them to? So let's just contain the conspiracy theory for a moment, please. There are some fear that some people may take the glory whilst I am sitting here doing, putting the data. I don't think there is anything to lose. This transaction is a win-win. You are improving your data recording, you're submitting data, you're getting your own feedback, you can analyze this, you are looking at the national data where it can help you counsel your patient properly. So it is not a win-lose, it is a win-win situation. And it is well known that this fear is unsubstantiated, and it is well known that everything you want is on the other side of this fear. Imagine if all of us submitted the data. So what if this happened? If we collect data, if we submit the minimum data set to the Egyptian and Anara registry, if we have the power for Africa registry to feed into the world registry, what will happen? We will have local data that is inherently relevant data. We will celebrate and publicize good practice. We will identify and improve not so good practice. We will improve the process and outcome, and we will meet our patient expectations. What is better than that? And we will get the recognition that we deserve. If a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication and science and honesty and everything goes into what we do, why can't it be recognized on the world stage and we become always consumer rather than provider? And the final thought that I will leave you with, we have a better option than cursing the darkness. We just need to be or belong to those who would choose to light a candle. Thank you very much.